Dang, streaming it up. Let's see what happens today. Just gonna code away. Let's see here. Working on a little project. Let's see. Make sure I'm not going to show anything sensitive here. He might cry, he's so sensitive. Alright, let's see. Alright, let's start her up. Alright. So this project is pretty much like a mini YouTube. I posted a video earlier about this. Kind of showing some of it. I did some work on it if you've watched that last video. Just some front end clean, like aesthetic work. So nothing really in the code's changed. Let's see here. I'm using Firefox Developer because it has some really cool layout tools for Flexbox and Grid, which is super legit. So you can see all. It's like the nav bars of Flexbox. Let's see if I hit this, you can see the box highlighting, and then some of these objects inside are grids, and some are flex boxes as well. Another one, so it's like a nested flex box. This one's a grid. Kind of cool. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna integrate authentication and take out this crap because it looks like crap, and I'll actually be putting it like on a / route. So let's start working on that. Oh, I also cleaned up sizing of this. All these videos are actually the same right now. It's super weird that wasn't updating. Let's see. That's right. There it goes. I don't know. Firefox Dev acts weird kind of sometimes. Because it should have been showing that, but it wasn't earlier. Whatever. I'm over it. It's working correctly, so I don't really give a rip if Firefox freaks out. Alright. Let's put some authentication on this guy. Yeah. Let's add a user router. User model. Oops, sorry. Sometimes I cannot type. We'll be adding user controller. Let's actually throw that in there. Excuse me. We'll serve it over the API. This is just mounting the router, and I'm mounting it on this path. Like in the future, if I ever wanted to change this quickly or update it or something, it's pretty easy. I could just switch that to a 2 or whatever I want. I mean, you can do whatever the freak you want. That's the beauty of coding. Alright, let's see. Pull that off real quick. Actually, gonna turn my music down a little bit. Which means it might be too quiet now. You're gonna hear my voice twice now in a second. I was testing the stream audio. Got him. Alright. This is authentication middleware. So what this does is each time I'll be putting it on the actual router itself, on the router, user router. So anytime there's a request made through the API, through an HTTP request on the user routes, I'll be requiring authentication on all those routes. So this is already written, but it's going to use the JWT web token, and it's going to use cookies. So there'll be a cookie that's sent from the backend, which I haven't written that yet. So the backend will send a cookie on user login and user creation, so like register route, or it's just the create route. So the front end will get a cookie. The cookie will contain a JSON web token. The cookie will be from the backend, so it'll be an HTTP only cookie and secure cookie. So that the front end, you can't get swiped from the front end from people trying to like cross-site attack and script attack. Screw those guys. This was an old thing I was using. I mean, the more you code over time, I mean, the easier it's not that it gets easier, but what's the point of rewriting your code over and over and over and over again? I mean, to learn, I guess. Yeah. Get it in your head. But if you already have it written down and you've already used it in other projects, just grab it and pull it, bring it in, save yourself some time, start working on a more complicated stuff. Like this comes from another project that I did. I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing, you know? Okay, so let's remove that. I'm not using that. I'll be using cookies. I don't want to put it in a session or in local or session storage. It's just too risky. I'm just not about that. I want to be as secure as possible. If you're coding just a front end project and you don't have access to a backend API, which I do because I'm building, this is full stack, but just use JSON web tokens. Put them in the local or session storage. Just depends on what you want to do. Like if you want to keep persistent login, then you got to put it in the local. If you just want session, then put it in the session, or a combination of both storages. And then just make sure your JSON web tokens have small expire times. They're not like 100 days. Because if it gets swiped, then that person's information is going to get jacked pretty fast. With cookies, I can set them a little bit longer because I'm using an HTTP only cookie and I'm sending it from the backend. I'll actually be sending it on the route, on the controller route. So I want to show this like kind of cool setup here. I'll show you with the videos. So here's the video router. I'm using Multer because it's for file uploading on here right now. And then I'm pulling in all these functions from the controller. And so if I pull up the controller, don't worry about the error. That's just because there's nothing on the router and I'm mounting it right now. It's like you gotta do something. So you can see these exports right here. Get videos. That's the to get all route. Get video. That's just to get single video route with an ID call. Upload video. That's a create route. So in the CRUD, with the CRUD algorithm or CRUD or not algorithm, CRUD API, standard form or whatever you want to call it. This would be the C route. Create all that jazz, and then update and delete. There's nothing on there because I haven't got that far yet. I want to make sure authentication is set before these are set, obviously, because these are excuse me, these are private routes. Let's see. I'm not really going to explain this stuff right now. This vlog's more for me. This video is more for me in the future to look back. But if you're interested in looking at it, go ahead. I don't care. You can take my code. Still my code. Code's free. I'm not trying to sell a product here. I'm just coding for fun. This is on my GitHub too. So I think it's called no. Let me check right now. It's called Express Video Host on my node, or my GitHub, which I'll probably change the name of that to my domain once I get that configured. Obviously, I'm not putting it on a domain yet. It's not even close to being done. But it'll, once it's done, it'll run behind an Nginx server and reverse proxy the node server. It will reverse proxy the node port, which is, I don't even know. But whatever I set the port to, I think it's 4044, something like that. But it'll reverse proxy that out to the through Nginx, and then Nginx will serve it, and then I'll use certbot to give it SSL, so I can use secure HTTPS, baby. All right, I'll shut up now. Let's see here. Sorry for my keyboard, it's really freaking loud. Now require the controllers here. Make a new router. Then I'll search routes. Oops. This will be on the root route. This will be ID. Oh, excuse me. Missing some strings here. Let's see. Dude, I can't type half the time. I don't even know how I code, honestly. I'm just gonna copy these real quick. Obviously, not necessarily all these routes will be used. I'm gonna switch that back to create. Yeah, I would have put like create video just because that's like the CRUD API. Or I don't even know what it's called. I keep saying API, but it's like the, I don't even know. It's just, it's the model, the API model CRUD. Create, remove, update, destroy, or delete. But I mean, I'm not creating, when people upload, they're not creating the video, they're uploading the video. So I kind of like the wordage of that better. It doesn't really matter, it's aesthetics. As long as you know what's going on. And these are just basic routes. I mean, I'm not gonna, there could be more in the future. Or less. No, there'll be more, not less. That's the basics that I need. Like this one right here, get users. Get user will be when you log in. There's gonna be login routes too. Actually, I need to add that. Do that right now. I'm gonna copy that out of this one. Actually, I want to bring this in from here. I'm bringing this in from another project that I did that uses authentication. I actually really like what I worked a long time on that project. Swept that in there so you can see that. Pretty much just copied that in there. I'll probably be copying the controller too, just so I don't have to write it all. Again, no update or delete routes. We're not finished on this project. This project is a work in progress anyway. I'm trying to build this project into a React Native project for the front end. Because it's a timer app, and I want timer notifications like, oh, your timer expired, and then it sends a notification to your phone. I mean, I guess I could do it with an email, but that's just, ugh. No. I mean, I can even have it text me, but nah, that's cost money too. I'm not about that right now. Notifications, but I'm not a React Native developer. I know nothing. I know a little bit. I'm just too lazy, honestly, to work on it. Let's see. Okay, so if you look right here, you'll see there's a parameter, the ID parameter, and then right here I have the /me. Okay, so reasoning behind that. So when you get a video, I want to grab it by the ID, and the video is linked to a user. Like when you upload it, I'm gonna use a virtual in Mongoose for MongoDB that's gonna like put an ID on everything to show like, oh, this person owns this video. But at the same time, it needs to be publicly accessed by, the video can be publicly accessed by everyone. As of right now, that's the way it's being written. So it just needs to sit on an ID. With the me, you don't need, so these routes right here are like okay, so first off, let's do the chain of command. So when you open the front end, you're either going to be logged in already if you have a session stored, or you're going to log in, or you're going to register, which is right here. So these paths only happen after you're logged in or you're registering. So once you're logged in or you've created, then you're going to get a cookie from the backend with a JSON Web Token in it, and it's going to save your credentials somewhere, or not somewhere, but in the cookie storage. Then when you need to get your user information again, or update yourself, or delete yourself, if you already have the cookie, you don't need to call an ID of who you are. the front end already knows who you are because you have the cookie that tells you this is who you are. You're logged in because the cookie tells you you're logged in. When you log out, that cookie's deleted, and if you log out, it deletes the cookie and now you're not logged in. Or if you have no cookie in the front end and you start the web page, then you gotta log in, and there's no cookie, then it gives you that. But you can't get your user information if you're not logged in, number one. You can't update yourself if you're not logged in, and you can't delete yourself if you're not logged in. So all of these require authentication to handle, and also you can't log out unless you're logged in, which requires authentication. If you could just log out without authentication, then you could just start logging out other people. You're not logging out anything. You're just pushing a button and doing nothing at that point. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I don't know. I like backend APIs. They're fun. All right, let's bring this in real quick. Oh, I'll explain through this real quick what's going on here. Try to make sure I don't have a something important, something sensitive. I don't think so. Okay. Make sure this is all configured correctly. User model, which hasn't been created yet, but I will in a second. I'm trying to think, do I have the bcrypt? I'm trying to make sure I don't have the bcrypt, oh no. Password. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, we're good. Trying to make sure there's no sensitive information on the right here. I'm using dual monitors, so if something sensitive pops up, I'm gonna check it on the right first before I bring it to the left, so I don't get janked. Which I'll change it if it shows. I'll change it. I don't care. So it's not that big of a deal, but whatever. Okay, so what's going on here? It's gonna call the user model, which there's nothing there yet, but I will configure that. And that user model is going to have a lot of stuff on it. It's not going to be like a basic schema. It's going to have some stuff on it. Let's see. Call the database. This is for using multi-document sessions. I don't have that right here, but I did have a project that used this last year that I made. What that means is, I said multi-document, but multi-model too. Multi-model sessions. So say I have a user model and I have a counter model, right? Or this is a model with like counters on it. And when a user creates themselves, they have to pick from a counter and remove a certain amount of a number from that. Okay, so say there's a counter with, it's 500, right? And maybe the question is like, how many cats do you own? And yeah, we'll do this. Okay, so it's like, how many cats do you own? And it's a counter that goes up, not down. And it's at 0. Every time a user logs in, I want that counter to go up. So when the user creates himself, I need a route and a model for the user being created. Okay, it's a pretty bad example because I could just keep track of how many cats the user owns across the board and just add them all up and then bring that to the front end. I'm trying to like think of a more. Okay, I have multiple events happening. They have amount of seats per event. That's its own model. So I have 6 events happening. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. They're 30 minutes each with a 30-minute gap. Each one allows me to have 1,000 seats. When a user signs up, I need that user to create themselves and then say how many seats they want from what service or what event is happening. then I need that number to be subtracted from that model, and then also keep the user model. But say there's an issue where like there's not that many seats available in that model. Like say there's only 4 seats left, they just pick 6. That's -2. So I need it, the model to not create. Well, if you're not using multi-model session, what could happen is the user could create themselves. Say I want 6 seats, there's only 4 left. That model errors, the event model errors, but the user model creates, and that user is created now. But they're getting incorrect information. So if I use multi-model sessions, then I use async await, and I'll use 2 await function method calls, where if one fails, so like the first one, say the first one's the user creation, which it wouldn't be. The first one would be the seats. So say like the seats fail, then it's just gonna fail the whole thing and nothing's created. But say the seats pass, but like the user put an incorrect password or an email that was already used or something, so that one fails too. I need the first one to reset and fall back. So I use a replica set in Mongo Atlas. So I use a Mongo Atlas account, and I use the replica set, which stores like flashbacks or like kind of like backups of the data. So like as it's creating, like as each transaction's happening in the database, say the first one passes but the second one fails, the first one's been written to the replica set already, but the second one passes or fails. I need the first one to roll back. And so that's what multi-session or multi-model transactions are. So you have to actually call the database to do that. So that's why that's there. So that was a really long explanation for something I'm not even going to use in this project. So you get users as a private route. That's an admin route. This will probably have I'll probably build a roles middleware. And each user will have a role too. I'm not going to do that right now though. But you would need to be an admin to get all user information, obviously. Get single user. Let's see, I actually need to change that. Oh, it's just that is incorrect. Let's see. Just a comment I didn't fix. There we go. Actually, I need to fix it in my other project now. This just looks for the user. Obviously, there's middleware happening. This is a pretty small function here. The create user path. This is using a custom method or a mongoose method, so that's why you're like, what the heck? What's that? That is custom, and that's on the model. I don't have the model yet. Login. Okay, so this is kind of where the magic happens. This is just for testing. Let's see. I like to see the data that comes in from the API when I'm doing stuff. I'll remove that in production, obviously. Or I'll do something like this. Conditional statement with a node environment. Node environment variable. But this is going to log in the user. It's going to try to find the user by username and password. Obviously, there's no authentication on this. If you look right here, it's not using authentication middleware because you would have to be logged in to log in, and that makes no sense. So, no, you're good. So you just put it's just a form with a username and a password. If it's correct, it's going to find the user by credentials. And also, this is another custom middleware because the passwords are going to be encrypted with bcrypt, or they're going to be hashed with bcrypt in the database, so that if the database gets hacked, people's passwords aren't going to get stolen, and people can't brute force the passwords back. Get roasted, hackers. Nah, dude, nothing on the internet is safe. I'm just being real. So if you think the internet is safe, you're stupid. Everyone trusts the internet way too much. Believe me, like, by me showing you my code, that exposes weakness in my code, because someone could look at it and see, oh, something I missed or I don't understand or don't know yet in my knowledge, something that is critical to security that I missed, or someone can see I'm pretty much showing you the blueprints of my building right now, and if you have the blueprints, you know the ins and outs of it. But I'm just being real. Even if I didn't show this, which it's on my GitHub, even if I didn't show this, it don't matter. Like, there is no perfect solution. There's always errors, there's always bugs, there's always issues, there's always vulnerabilities in code and everything, in every aspect of something. So to trust the internet with all of your information it's not very wise. We do our best. That's the goal. We do our best and be smart, but that's all we can do. Alright, so off my tangent, off my soapbox here. So it's going to find the user, and then it's going to generate a JSON web token for them. Right here, that's another custom middleware. I think I showed that earlier, right there. So it's going to generate a custom JSON web token. It's going to save that into a variable. Let's see, actually, I want to show that. Let me bring this in. Alright, right here. This is a method that is available. It's a user schema method, so it becomes available on the instances of the sorry. It becomes available on the model. So if I call the model in there, I can call a method on it. I pretty much created a method. Because there's like user.find. That's a method. But that's a built-in method. This is a custom method. This is the custom method. So, well, that's a static. You can write there, statics are available on models, methods are available on instances. Okay, so what the generate authentication token does is it takes the user, and I have to use like the old function for methods. I can't use arrow functions, which means I have to bring this in there, which sucks, but whatever. I don't know if that's been updated or not. I haven't checked if you can use that yet. I know I gotta do it in these two as well. The statics methods I was able to use. I can use on the arrow function and not have any issue with the user. If you know JavaScript, then you know that what that is. What this is. It's just like it's like a relativism with code. This is what it's this keyword is what you're like what part of code or what scope you're referring to. Okay, so let's see. So then it takes the token. So it's going to create a token. It signs it with the ID of the user. It converts it to a string here, parses it, and then it creates my. Oh, look at that. That'll change, obviously. It's going to sign with the JSON web token secret environmental variable, which I will not show you. And if I did, I'd have to change it. And then it takes the user ID as well, and it's going to parse that to a string and put these together and sign that. So what I could... So theoretically, I don't need to put the user ID in there. Why you'd put the user ID, why you'd sign it, if you weren't using cookies in the front end, Actually, yeah, I still need to sign this. Sorry, I'll configure. When the cookie comes back, then I will. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Here we go. So what happens is it's going to generate, like, so let's look at the login route. Let's just follow that. Sorry, my brain is all over the place. So when you log in, it's going to run this. It looks for the username and password that you give to the body on the form of the front end, or whatever you're using. You're not limited by the front end that I produce, by the way. There are ways to talk to a backend without a front end, or a GUI front end. That's why you got to be really careful, and that's what coders miss sometimes. They make mistakes. If you're writing your front end for your back end, you're doing it wrong. Or, sorry, if you're writing your back end for your front end, you're doing it wrong. What that means is, like, if you are writing your front end first, and then you're configuring your back end to accommodate for how you wrote your front end, you're probably going to screw something up. You need to write your back end completely naked. Not completely, but pretty much naked, with the understanding that the front end is just a shell of the back end. The front end is just a fancy way to view what the back end wants to do. And that's the fun of it, right? The front end is the visuals of the back end. It takes the back end API and makes it fun. But I could serve this back end right here. Someone could go make a front end for my back end if they really want. And they could do whatever. If they follow my API, then they could do whatever the heck they want. And they could screw people over, you know, by stealing people's information or something. Yes, so don't do that. Alright, so back end is important. Front end, not so much. There are ways to communicate to back ends without front ends. Keep that in mind. Alright. So I log in. I send username and password through the form. It's going to look for that user. If it finds it, nice. It means it's in the database. It's going to generate a token. Nice. Goes here, generates a token. Takes the ID of the user, parses it to a string, takes the JSON secret, creates a token with an expiration of 2 days. Nice. Then it concatenates it into an array on the model, user model, of a bunch of tokens. So the user will have a bunch of tokens on it. When they log out or they delete, obviously the entire user will be removed. When they log out, that token will be deleted. The reason why the tokens remain on the user is so for persistent login, or for multi login. Like, so I can log in on my phone, I can log in on my Xbox, I can log in on my computer, I can log in on another computer, and say those different devices have different cookies with a different token in it. Just because it has a different token doesn't mean it's incorrect, because I could log in on days, then they're both good. They're not expired tokens. So I need the user to have a list of tokens, and then it'll look through and see if it can find that token. If it finds it, you're logged in. If it doesn't find it, then it either expired or you're trying to hack me and it's not a real token. Because why the heck are you messing around with my tokens? You know what I mean? Okay, so then it saves the user, returns the token. Cool. So then we use a little conditional logic here. This is an object, an options object for this. Okay, so what it does is if I'm in development mode, it doesn't use secure tokens because I'm not serving an HTTPS development server. Because why the freak would you do that? I'm serving it over HTTP, so I need my cookies to not be secure until I do go into production. And once it's production, that it'll serve HTTPS cookies, which is nice because they're encrypted. So then it's going to send a cookie with the with the value auth token. It sends that token inside the cookie, gives it a max age here. That's 2 days, by the way. That's milliseconds, minutes. Oh, so milliseconds, seconds, minutes, hours. So that's 48 hours. Is how you write that. It's an HTTP only token, which is what I want. So an HTTP only token means that the front end cannot see it. So if I'm building a React front end. So in React, I could bring in like universal cookie, and I could grab the cookies that are stored on my computer, stored in the browser. If it's an HTTP only cookie, that means that the JavaScript in the front end cannot see the cookie. It will literally not see it. It physically cannot see that the cookie is there. There's no way around that. And then obviously I use a spread operator to add to this object if it's false or true for secure. Kind of a little fancy workaround here I did. It also sends another cookie called logged in with a value of 1. This is a non-HTTP only cookie, which means the front end can see this. So I was using that in my other project. I don't even know if I like that solution. It's kind of cheeky. I mean, a lot of people use it. Pretty much what it is like, it's conditional. It's for conditional logic in the front end for rendering components. So like, say the front end has, when you very first start the front end, you have to log in right away. So like on YouTube, you don't. You can use YouTube without logging in ever. But say your project needs a login. If the user doesn't exist in the cookie, or if the cookie doesn't, there's no way to determine if this cookie exists in the front end because it's an HTTP only cookie. I could send it I could put it in the local storage or session storage, and then the front end could see that exists, or I could make it a non-HTTP only cookie, and the front end would have no way to know that exists. So the front end can't determine if the user's logged in or not until after you log in. So there's just no way to know. Even after logging in, it can't see this. It doesn't know. So what this does is it tells the front end, oh, you're logged in. And then it can pass through to other stuff. So I don't know. I gotta rethink that, I think, a little bit. It was just something I was messing around with. I mean, because that cookie can be manipulated in it doesn't even matter. Like, say you just like add a cookie. Like, if you write that to 0, it's not really going to do anything. It doesn't change anything. It just shoots you back out, and you can log back in, and it writes you back to 1. Or it just looks, if the front end has the user information, then it also knows you're logged in. I'm just thinking through that. But also sends the user and the token to the front end as well. Probably won't send that to the front end. Again, that was just and then if you look at the logout route, this is cool. Okay, so with a login logout route, it uses authentication as well, and then so it's going to extract that token from the cookie. With authentication, it's going to look in there. It's going to pull out the token right here, and then just pass it on to the request item or object right here. So then it's going to look through, when you log out, it looks through that array and filters through it of the user. that tokens array, like I was saying, and then it just removes it. Because if you log out, you need to remove that token, so that if you log back, so if you refresh the page, you're not logged in again. That would make no sense. So it removes that, saves the user, awesome. But that would, say you're logged in on your phone, logged in on your computer, if it removes the computer token and you refresh on your phone, you're still logged in. It's not like going to remove both. It's per device session. So then it also clears the cookies from the back end to the front end. So it's going to clear these 2 cookies because clearly you're not logged in. Let's see. Clearly you're not logged in anymore. So it removes that, and then it also removes the authentication token from the front end as well. So it deletes it, removes it, log out. You don't really need to do that. That's just for cleanup's sake, and I like the way it's for cleanup. Because if this exists in the front end, like say I log out but I don't delete it, when I refresh, the front end's gonna be like, oh look, I have a cookie. I have a cookie. Go log in again. And then it's gonna just error. It's just gonna keep erroring. Like, oh, you're not logged in. That cookie doesn't exist, or that token doesn't exist. I'd rather just be clean slate after a logout. Pretty cool, if I'd say so myself. All right, let's see. Let's clean some crap up. Let's see here. Okay, let's look at the model now. Yeah. Oh, that's a virtual reference. Nice. It was just virtually referencing the timer model, which is from another project. I actually need to go to video. You can see that. That was the user model. I just pulled that in there and configured it around. Hey man, if you already wrote the code a bunch, why write it again? Yeah. Okay, so that does is it's going to add an owner. Property to the model. So whenever the user uploads the video, it will send the ID of the owner and set that as the ID of the owner will be the owner value on the video, so that the video also is tagged to the owner, so that when you because if it's your video and you upload it, you want it to tag to you, so that if you went to your profile, you know it's going to upload it's only going to show your videos. Now if it's the home page of the site, let's see, if it's the home page of the site, it could be anything on the front end, and that's the point. Like YouTube, you could upload a video and your video could be on the home page. It's your video, but that means everyone has access to it because you want people to watch your video. If only you had access to it, that'd be no point. But you also want to own the video; it's yours. You don't want people, messing around with your video. So the goal would be if you hit this and went to my profile, it'll show you all the videos that you uploaded, and they're yours. But if you went to home, it's going to show you what everyone uploaded. Pretty spicy, huh? Pretty spicy. Let's see. I might be done with some of the... I know that's good to go. Let's see. trying to think through this. Yeah, so let's see. If I try to upload a video right now, it should error because it's gonna require. It means you can't upload unless you're logged in, which is what it should do. So let's see. I may need to actually delete that document first because that's an index. Let's see. That's probably what's gonna happen. Let's just upload this and name it hi. Nope, got him. That's what that's good. Yeah. The owner path is required. Video validation failed. Owner path is required. That's perfect. That means you cannot upload a video unless you're logged in, which is exactly how it should work. You gotta sign up to log in, baby. Yeah, so I'll need a register route too. Or, I mean, I have that. It's a create route. I need to just do some front end work now. I actually need to set this whole project with Postman. Well, that's cool. I should make these boxes. I don't know. Let's see here. So I have this really nice key where it's a Corsair, I think it's a K75 rapid fire. I spilled Red Bull on it on the numpad on the right, so my numpad keys stick. I'm a really awesome person. It sucks. I've cleaned it out too, and it doesn't. It don't do nothing. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm making a little graphic here. Why does it keep doing that? It's gonna piss me off. Sorry. There we go. That's fine. Sorry, I'll show you what I'm making. So I'm making a whole thing for OBS while I gotta go to the bathroom or leave. Sometimes you just gotta poop. You know what I mean? I need to put like a timer on that. I could animate that real easily. That'd be cool. Put some throw some After Effects on that bad boy. Dang, look at that. Alright, BRB, enjoy some music. And I'm back. Alright, let's see. Just quit joking around here. I'm just messing around. write some front end crap. Let's see, I'm probably going to do a content provider for authentication here. Let's set that up. So pretty much what that is it's not Redux. I'm trying to think how to explain this in a simple way, because if you don't know what context API is, I doubt you know what Redux is. Okay, so there's components. Let's see, I'll just draw something up real quick. Probably seen this 1,000 times. Maybe. Alright. Let's bring this over. Let's do these little nice rounded squares here. Okay. So right, you got your front end. Something like that. So like a React project. You got like index. You get your index JS right here, right? And then you got like, let's see, with my project I got like index. Well, I got like app. Dude, I can't type, I swear, man. Point something like that, and then I got home, watch route, or component. What else do I got? Let's see. I don't even know. Oh, nav bar. And upload, but I mean, it's not really anything. That's going to all change. Okay, so something like that. These different components. Actually, let's name this one. Let's do this one. Why did that get bigger somehow? I have no idea how that even happened. Shout out to my Affinity designer, Affinity Photo, though. So I'm talking about, baby. Kind of lay out what this project looks like. Alright, so something like that. Let's actually make this green, and I'll explain why in a second. Make this one green too. Okay. Then I have, let's make these a little bit smaller, more room. Look at that. Fancy. Okay. So then I have a wrapper on this whole project. Oops. Okay, so this wrapper, that's a horrible circle. Let's redo that. We need a good, there we go. We need a good circle. Okay. Make it pink. Because we like the pinks. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Let's actually put all that in a group. Apparently that doesn't work like that. Okay. Then that component. We're going to name this router. Excuse me. Okay, so something more like that. Alright, let's visualize this real quick. So, we'll show you everything. Here's the nav bar at the top. Right here. No matter what route I'm on, nav bar always exists. Sweet. Man, I'm fucking the burps. Then I got upload. No matter what route I'm on, upload always exists. Obviously that's going to change, but the nav bar will stay. Upload will be pushed into here and styled. Actually, it looks like garbage. All right, cool. So those are consistent, and I'll show this in the code now. So if you look at history or index, I got the router, right? So there's the router. The router is higher order encapsulating the entire project, the app. Okay. So it's more like this. Excuse me. Cool. Okay. So we're looking at app.js. You can see the routes here. So navbar and upload do not have routes. Those are components that will always be rendered no matter what. Then I have a switch. The switch looks in from top to bottom for these different paths and different routes, and they render components. So that's what these are. So home and watch. Excuse me. Didn't even notice that. Okay. So cool. Routers wrapped around this whole thing. Got different components. These always exist no matter what the route is. These will only exist on their route, which home is always on the just the root /route. Watch exists on the watch route /watch. Fantastic. So then we got to make another circle. It's going to be a little bigger. Make this one orange. Nice. Okay, we'll call this one context. So context is, let's put a little guy right here too. And then that one store. Okay, so in all of these, I have data, right? And I need data to configure all this stuff. Like, for example, I'm going to have the user come in. So, what do I need from the user? I need to store this data and use it everywhere. So I need the user. I need his name. I need any other info from him. I need
no. Okay.
Oh, I have the guest. Alright, stream will have to. Hello?
Hello.
Stream will have to end for now, but we'll work on it later.
What do you want?